Bienvenidos, damas y caballeros. Welcome back to Freeform Radio on the Freeform Network. Send in those questions and suggestions. It's been kind of slowing down on the questions. ffnquestions@gmail.com. My boy Andy, he's on top of those emails now. So I know in the past maybe they were a little lacking on responses, but send in those emails. We'll send your response. We'll let you know what we feel, and we might even shout it out on an episode. But for Freeform Radio, I'm one of your hosts. My name is Daniel. My other two hosts today is Noel.
Hey, thank you for coming, everybody.
And Andy.
It's all good, and Andy here, and we're glad you guys are going to be able to join us.
Yes, sir. So we're back here. It's kind of warmish today, so the heat is finally here. It ain't fooling. It jumped from winter almost to to summer here. We're getting close to upper 90s, so it's a little muggy, especially for us that have shitty air conditioning. It's a little rough, but I know you're saying
I was reading it's going to be the 96% chance that it's going to be the fourth hottest summer we've ever had, or the fourth hottest year we've ever had.
Damn.
So
that doesn't sound good at all, man. Not for me. I know Andy's over there sitting pretty, and his AC's got it onto the max.
Yeah, I'm doing all right, man. It's not that old. Knock on wood.
Right. But let's jump into this episode. Andy, what's this Jim Leyland? I don't even know who that is, and it's MLB. I'm not a great follower of MLB, so I don't want to profess that I'm like some, know-it-all. But I don't even recognize the name. Who's this guy, and what's this documentary that you saw?
So is the summer sprung upon us? Baseball season. Baseball started a little late this year, but the White Sox are doing good, and I've been on this documentary kick lately. So I started watching Jim Leyland. He's a great baseball coach for MLB. He was a coach for the Pittsburgh Pirates, the Rockies, Florida, and Detroit. And so I was watching it, and just reminds me of old school baseball. This guy is a great manager, and I don't know. I like when the White Sox are doing good. I like baseball in general. I think
it makes it more interesting when they're doing good.
Yeah, I like good baseball. It's just when the Sox are doing good, yeah, it gets me more involved because that's my team. And when they're out of it, I'll watch some other baseball. But it's different from football, which I could watch like college football and NFL just all weekend. I could watch it. Just I don't care who's playing, even if they're not the Bears. But baseball, when the White Sox are playing, I'll watch it, and I'll watch some once in a while, some national, like the Dodgers or something. But watching going back to the documentary with Leyland, I forgot. He was a coach in the early '90s and late '80s, and even up to he took a break there. At the end, he coached with the Detroit Tigers. And he's just watching the documentary. Just it brings me back to a time when I used to watch baseball with my dad. So a lot of it was with and my uncles. So watching Jimmy Leyland, I knew him from Pittsburgh because he had a lot of great post game conferences and shit. But everybody remembers when he ripped Barry Bonds before he left to San Francisco. He just they recorded him just fucking riding him like I'm the motherfucking coach and fuck this, and Barry Bonds they're chirping at each other back during spring training, and when
that's right. I had forgotten that he started off as a Pittsburgh, and then he went over to the Giants. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, and then that little barrage of words, it reminded me. You won't see that shit in baseball. And we got people more now with recording devices. It's just a different era, man. And then just when I was watching the documentary and I hear him talking, I mean, this guy smoked in the dugout, and it's just a throwback, man. And it just when I watch stuff like that, it just reminds me of of my dad and my uncles watching baseball. So it's pretty good.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. My dad wasn't a huge sports fan other than boxing. He really cared for boxing a lot. But occasionally he would watch a Cubs game, and yeah, when I see like an old retro MLB game, it does kind of throw me back to being a kid and, just playing with my toys and glancing up to the TV and watching, my dad watching a baseball game. But yeah, I'm sure it brought back some nostalgia watching the old games, and I'm with you, man. I'm the same way. I can watch any NFL game. It could be even Green Bay versus Detroit, and I'll watch it. But for baseball, I'm more selective. If it's the White Sox, I'll watch it for sure. But otherwise, it needs to be like a big marquee game, like the Yankees versus some big team, so that I can want to watch it.
Yeah, I mean, MLB does some great docs. A lot of them are on YouTube, so I suggest you watching. The Ken Griffey one was pretty good too, and they've done a lot on the World Series and some of the great years in baseball. I mean, but the Leyland one, I forgot just how he's the Sox current manager La Russa. He gave him his first coaching position in Major League Baseball with the '83 Sox. I think 82 or something. He got him in the early 80s, but he was there when they won the winning ugly team in '83 when they won the division. So yeah, I mean MLB does some great fucking documentaries on baseball. I mean, especially like late '80s, '90s when I was really watching a lot of baseball. And just check it out, man. It's they did a pretty good job on it.
Yeah, so the MLB is the one that did the documentary.
Yeah, Major League Baseball network, and a lot of people upload them on YouTube. So that's where I found them. I don't got cable. I just know. I think during the pandemic, I know they did a Ken Griffey one. Like, I mean, him and like Frank Thomas. During the '90s, they were the shit, and they did one on. They need to. They did one on him, and watching that one too, man, it just brought a lot of memories back. So I mean, check them out if you got it. Maybe it's on demand. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I watched them on YouTube, so they're on YouTube, and they're pretty good quality.
Nice.
So check them out. But the other thing I've been doing lately is I got into the cryptocurrency investment craze. I got in the Doge coin. I call it the Doogie. But right now, that fucker, when I bought it, I thought at half at its value when at its peak, it was like 74 cents. I bought it like at like 38. So, but it does not go past 40 cents right now. It's starting to fucking piss me off.
Yeah, investments, man. It's hit or miss, and that's why I kind of held off on investing right now with cryptocurrency. It's just so volatile. People are, especially because it's becoming more mainstream. Cryptocurrency has existed for
It's
a while,
volatile, dude, like crazy. Yeah,
and
I mean, it's crazy.
yeah, dude. Like when I first got started in like doing online orders for certain materials that were not available to me here in Illinois, I had to use Bitcoin, and so yeah, I invested in Bitcoin way back when it first started, and yeah, if I had had the money that I had invested back then, now, yeah, I'd be retiring, dude. I would have enough money to retire right now, but things happen, and yeah, what can you do?
Right, man. It is really volatile, and for sure, you sound as impatient as my wife sometimes. Sometimes she'll see big gains and she'll get really excited, and then she'll see it only creep up like a dollar after that, and then another dollar, and then she'll get upset. And she'll be like, "Why is this thing taking so long when it jumped up, like $10 the first day?" And I'm just like, "Yeah, that's the way the market is."
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, at the peak, I think it was like 70 plus cents, and right now it just does not pass that 40 cent mark, and it's been like that for like the last month since I joined, and I'm trying to wait it out. I'm pretty sure it's gonna down the road like Bitcoin. I mean, there's still people Bitcoin like it's still kind of down, but there's still analysts are still predicting it's gonna go up to like 220,000 a fucking share, well, not a share, but 220,000 a coin, and I'm just like Jesus. So I bought a little bit into that, but not as much as the Deutsch or the Dug or whatever the fuck. And so we'll see what happens. But yeah, it's I'm trying not to look at it every day.
Yeah, I think that's one of the keys is if unless you're investing on something that is volatile and you're expecting it to jump up, $10 or $20 or whatever, and then you want to sell at that peak. Otherwise, I think for most investing, you got to kind of let it chill in there and do its thing, and then maybe down the line, or if you read some article that tells you they're about to be indicted or something, then that's when you want to sell while you have it up a little higher.
And just like real quick, yesterday, Anonymous came after Elon Musk. I don't know if you, maybe Noel, I don't know if you saw it, Danny. They're on Twitter, they're saying how he's trolling and manipulating the cryptocurrency with all these posts and shit. And they're gonna try to expose him that he's a fraud and all this.
Damn.
Ah, dang. I
Yeah,
actually
like
haven't seen that.
they're not saying like he's not really a genius and all this other shit. And so it's they're starting to come after Elon Musk. They're like, oh, you really didn't invent Tesla. You bought it from somebody else and all this stuff. So it was an interesting take.
Yeah, I know. Excuse me. I know that he made Bitcoin go down a little bit just because he said he was going to stop taking his currency for Teslas. So then that's when Bitcoin kind of crashed. And I was with you around that time. I'm like, this is the time to buy Bitcoin. I'm like, they're going to go back up, but now is the time to buy it while they're low. So I bought a few shares of that. And yeah, I'm hoping that it'll bounce back up. And recover from the little bit that it dove down from, you know, Elon Musk talking shit about it.
I'm pretty sure I'll bounce back. I mean, the track record of it, I, I I think it will. And then I was reading yesterday, El Salvador is gonna make Bitcoin its official currency or something. Did you
Wow.
see that? Yeah, it's like
No.
it's coming. Crypto is it's gonna be a thing in the coming in the years. I think I was even reading that the U.S. is gonna make their own crypto coin, and I know China is for a fact making their own crypto coin. So it's gonna be interesting to see how this shit works out at the end. It's gonna get regulated somehow.
I don't like it, man. I don't like it at all. I like the fact that it's a free market, and once the
Yeah,
government gets involved and they start controlling shit, it's not
yeah.
gonna be good.
But that's everybody sees that coming, and that's why everybody they started shit talking the Bitcoin, and you see how it dropped in price big time. So they're like, rich people are trying to drop the price to buy up really cheap, and then it's gonna explode. I mean, that's what the fuck do I know? I mean, don't take our financial advice from us, but everybody that you read and see, and they're all saying the same shit. They're just trying to drive down the price so to buy it cheap.
That's what they do, man. They short sell in the stock market all the time.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, that's what's going on. I think.
So speaking of investment, man, how's that AMC doing? I
Man, I
know my
regret not selling it.
yeah, I've been kind of holding on to it myself because I was hopeful that it would hit like an $80 mark. So I was holding, but it doesn't look like it wants to climb back up anymore. So I might have to figure out when is the best time to just cut my loss and just get rid of it.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
did you lose
when
money? Did you guys lose money on that?
No, I haven't. I gained from it.
Oh, Oh,
But because I bought it when it was really, really cheap, so I gained some. But I was hoping that it would have a higher upswing when people were saying, to buy it. So when it reached like $60, I got really excited. I'm like, holy shit! And even Alana, she was just like, oh my god, it's up to $60, and I'm just like, hold, we need a little bit more. I'm like, maybe 70. I'm like, if it hits 100, I'm just gonna like be like, boom, I'm out, I'm done, cash out, and then just give me what I got. But
what
yeah, man, it dropped back down a little bit. So
what I sometimes recommend is take out a little bit of what you invested, maybe take out what you invested if you made, profits already. That way, whatever's left is the profit, and you could just let that ride with no worry financially. So that
right.
if it goes up, then it's just smooth sailing from there. I was hearing rumors that this is going to keep going up and up and up in the years to come, and we'll see, man, because there's a lot of people. It's like the whole Reddit thing,
It's a
the
meme
Wall
stock.
Street bets. Yeah,
Yeah.
dude. So people are going to do the same thing like with GameStop, which was insane. It was insane that GameStop that happened to them. So if they do that to AMC, I have money too. Just coincidentally, I didn't even know they were doing this whole thing. I had AMC from way back when the pandemic started, and so yeah, let's see, dude.
Yeah, when I opened the account, I looked at AMC and I'm like, well, it's a meme stock and it's really low, so fuck it. I bought a couple $100 and then I just like the last 2 weeks and I was just like, fuck. And then I had a huge return this week and I'm just like, fuck, should I unload this? I'm like, once it hits, that's when I was like, if it hits this much, I'm gonna fucking sell because I was already up huge. And then I think it dropped to like 20% or something. And then maybe I'll jump back up because I was trying to compare it to the GameStop one and like maybe I'll reach that height, like over 100, but we'll see what happens.
Right. Hopefully, it does have a good bounce.
So we'll see. I mean, just as everybody says, just hold. And then if you guys have any investment tips or anything, send them to ffnquestions@gmail.com or let us know your stories if you sold, bought at high, losing your ass. We want to hear about it. But so let's go to Danny here. I see you guys went out to a certain restaurant. Was it just a normal occasion, or you guys were celebrating anything?
No, yeah, we went to Outback. It was just me and Alana. Junior's not vaccinated quite yet, so Alana's just like, since we're both vaccinated, we can go out for dinner. Was how she originally posed it to me, and I was just like, well, Junior's not vaccinated. She's just like, well, duh, maybe me and you can just go. And I'm like, oh shit, you want to get like date night shit going, like we're still dating? And she's just like, yeah, it'd be nice. We haven't really gone just me and you out for over a year. I mean, with the whole pandemic stuff going on, because me and my wife were really strict about stuff like that. We really didn't go out. We did our grocery pickup by backing up our car, and they just loaded it in the trunk kind of stuff. So it was different to go out to eat. I'm not sure if you guys have been out to restaurants during this pandemic, but it was different. We got there, and you had to have your mask on till you got to your table. But once you got to your table, you could just let it all hang out and just kind of relax and enjoy yourself. So it was the first time we were out, just me and her, and it was different, but it was good, man. It was a good sign that things are slowly going back to normal.
Was there a lot of people, or did you go like off hours or like normal dinner hours for you or something?
I can't really recall. I think it was after work, if I remember right. Yeah, it was. It was on a Friday, like 6 o'clock ish.
Okay, so yeah.
So you would expect it to be kind of peak hours, and there were a few people in there, but nothing near when we used to go. We went to one kind of locally here by us by O'Hare, and usually it's pretty packed because they got that hotel right next to it.
That one's pretty cool. I haven't been to that one in years.
Right. And when we went, there was, maybe 12 people in the restaurant eating.
Wow.
But, it wasn't, usually you have to wait, like good 10 minutes to get your table. So I was expecting it to be a little more crowded, but it did say on their website, because I checked to see if they were allowing seating at all. And it did say a limited capacity allowed. So I'm not sure if when I went, they still weren't open to 100%, because I know a lot of restaurants nowadays they are open to 100% capacity. So it was different, man. It was different. The waiter, he wore his mask the whole time. I was kind of expecting him to kind of rip it off as well, but no. It was cool, man. It was a good time. I had not eaten a steak from a restaurant for that whole year, because we've done a few takeouts like Chinese food, pizza, and stuff like that. And Alana even mentioned to me, he's like, should we get steak or something from like an Outback and we'll just take it out and come back home? And I'm like, nah, man. To travel with that steak coming home, I bet you when it comes in, it's going to get all steamy from the bin, and it's just not going to be as good as if it's like freshly cooked and it comes out of the, you know, the pan.
Or the,
yeah, right. So, yeah, man, I enjoyed ourselves. Have you guys gone out to eat now that things are kind of lifting up?
You know, I haven't gone to any restaurants in quite some time, dude. I might have to, making a trip out there. Well, let me ask you, Outback, how are the prices? Because if there's a limited capacity and they're losing business because of that, were the prices a little higher than you're used to?
It did seem a little pricier to me. I didn't, since we didn't really go out to eat this whole pandemic and really didn't spend too much money. To be honest, it was probably the time that I've saved the most money in my life. Just because we couldn't go out and eat, or we're out in the road and it's like, well, let's stop by Portillo's and pick up this, and let's stop by Weekend Dog and get that. We never had that. We ate at home the most during this whole pandemic. But back to the pricing, I ordered a ribeye steak, and my wife ordered some kind of steak, a salad with some like steak topping or something like that, and then with a side of a shrimp. And then we both had drinks, and at the end, it was about almost $80 for both of us. And to me, that seemed a little pricey. Usually it's like $80, but when it's three of us, me, Alana, and Junior, so it did seem a little more pricier.
Did you have liquor?
Yeah, we did. We both had a drink. So I think that's what kind of kicked it up a little bit, because when it is all three of us, I typically don't drink because I don't want to pay $10 for a beer kind of thing. But but since it was like a one in a long time that we hadn't gone out, I'm like, the hell with it, I'm gonna get a drink. And then Alana got something to drink too, and yeah, man, we had a good time. But yeah, it was a little pricier than I thought it was gonna be. But at the moment, I didn't really look at the pricing, just because I was like, I'm gonna order what I want, I'm gonna eat the way I want, and I'm gonna drink what I want, and then we'll deal with it when the check comes.
No, it's good, man. Good, you had a good experience.
Right, man. And then just real quickly, something else that I was up for, man, is it was my son's birthday not too long ago. So we had a little get together, speaking of lifting up the pandemic. So it was, the second or maybe third time that I've gotten together with the family in some kind of social environment. It was outside because the weather was great. So we stood outside, and not really much to talk about it in particular. But it was good to feel normal and have everybody together with us, and kind of just sit down and just eat some food. Nothing super special about the food. It was just pizza, and then everybody brought in like. We got it from a local place, Anthony B's here. Junior really likes it. It's kind of got a like a Nick and Bruno's kind of taste.
Right.
I like the pizza, but this particular time I thought the cheese was kind of light. I don't know if they were like, "Hey, man, we're trying to save money here. Cut back on that cheese." But it was good, man. People brought food with them. Like my mom brought some tacos to share. Carrie brought some Cuban sandwiches, and Ada brought over some kind of like little egg rolls, fried things, and those were pretty good. So everybody brought a little bit something to eat and kind of share with everybody else. So it seemed like everybody was having a good time, but nothing really super extravagant. We just kind of kept it low key and just kept it to the immediate family, and it was just cool to get that sense of things getting back to normal. So hopefully the worst is behind us. But
I mean, those Cuban sandwiches are actually pretty good.
yeah, I know. When my mom was leaving, Alana's just like, take some home for Noel so he can eat some. And so I'm not sure what she picked up for you to take home so you can eat.
Yeah, no, she took I think three of them, and I finished them all, dude. Like I was just like, these are freaking good. I didn't finish them at the same time, but
Same sitting.
yeah, but I almost did. Like I was just like, damn, like the bread is like a certain type of bread, and like it has like the nice toasting and the carnitas, the ham, a little pickle on there. Like it's a good sandwich, man.
Yeah, man. There was a while when I first met Alana that I got introduced to like Cuban sandwiches and stuff. That man, it was like the thing I ate whenever I went to like a Cuban restaurant. I'm just like, man, I got to have this sandwich. The pickle makes it happen, and then you're right. What do they call it? I don't think it's called carnitas. They call it something else, but it's just like carnitas. It's got
Yeah,
that same
Isn't it just
taste.
like a different ham or something? Like un
They
jamón?
I think they maybe cook it in a different
Yeah.
way. I forget what they call it. Lechon. So they
Yeah.
lechon. Yeah.
lechon, yeah, but it's the same stuff. It's pork, where they roast it and all that good stuff. But it was good, man. Those sandwiches were good, and I did keep some. But why don't we jump onto you, Noel? I see you you're happy that the Warriors got renewed for season 3. I know you were talking about that, I think last episode, about the Bruce Lee Warriors and how you were really enjoying that.
Yeah, dude. So season two finished, I want to say last year. And at the time that it finished, the reason it wasn't going to get immediately renewed was because Cinemax, who they're the creators of the show, they decided to cut all their original programming. So anything that Cinemax, it started out, all that's getting canceled, and it's just going to be doing, I guess, movies or whatever. And so from that point, I was like really bummed out. I was like, this show has a lot of potential. It's got a good cast, and it's bringing to life like a story that Bruce Lee invented a long time ago, before his death. And so it was one of those things. I was like, I want to see it keep going. I want to see the potential, like it realize its potential. And so HBO Max is like the parent company of Cinemax. So all the stars, Bruce Lee's daughter Shannon, a lot of people in the Asian community, and just all the fans as well as a big, community. They all pitched to, or like they all pretty much asked HBO to renew it. And so HBO, thankfully, they saw the potential, and yeah, now it's going to be season 3 on HBO Max, probably next year because it's already a little bit too late to.
And I'm sorry, no, originally it was on Cinemax, or was it always on
Yeah, yeah, it was on
okay, so it was
Skinemax.
okay. Yeah, Skinemax.
Yeah,
Yeah, because AT&T and HBO Max or HBO and all that bullshit, they're having money problems, and they merged with the Discovery fucking media or whatever, which is like TLC and all this other. They just recently merged,
interesting.
so there's gonna be down the road. There's gonna be a lot of. They're gonna start cleaning house at AT&T or Warner Brothers and all this other stuff. The guy who created HBO Max, they brought in. It sounds like he might be done. That he's the guy that put all the first run movies on HBO Max. He might be out of a job soon.
Wow.
Well, then, man, I guess they better make season 3 the best and last.
So
Yeah,
yeah. They're having money problems.
yeah, I'm not surprised, man. A lot of networks right now are struggling, and I think Disney's lost like $5 billion or some crazy thing like that.
Right.
And
I think because of the parks or
yeah,
yeah, I think their streaming stuff's all right, but yeah, the parks I think finally reopening are gonna help them out a lot. But yeah, they were losing a ton of money because of the parks were closed.
and then their movies just they aren't doing well,
Yeah,
man.
they're not good. Yeah,
Cruella, Mulan, like there's a bunch that I can name that just they're not doing well.
like they decided to just make live action movies of like fucking old cartoons and like even when I was watching, I think we talked about it in the podcast real quick, The Lion King, the live action. I was like, this sucks. I haven't even
Yeah,
finished watching it. And we
I
got like,
couldn't.
me and my wife got like 20 minutes in. I'm like, you liking this? And she's like, no. Yeah, me neither. You want to watch it? nah, we're good, and I shut it off. It was so fucking disappointing.
I did the same thing when I
Yeah,
heard Seth Rogen starting to sing Puma's song, the Hakuna Matata, and he started singing it. I was like, "This is Seth Rogen singing, dude. Like, why couldn't they get anyone else to sing over him? You know, like he could have the voice, whatever, but when the song comes on, even in the animated movie, like Simone what is it, Simba? My bad, Simba. The person that played him was from Home Improvement,
yeah.
that the middle child.
Right.
But when the singing came on, it was a different actor. It was an African American actor. I forgot his name, but he was in other movies and other shows that I've seen on Disney Channel. And so I was like surprised. My whole life, I thought it was the same actor singing the same song. But when I realized that, I was like, I guess it kind of makes sense. Maybe the actor didn't have a good voice. But then it really came into my mind when I heard Seth Rogen singing, and like it totally ruined the immersion because I have that like I love that song. And that I remember Daniel, you took me to see Lion King in theaters. It was probably one of my first movies ever in the theaters as a kid. I was probably like 6 years old, and I remember like that movie. Yeah, it like changed my life. Like I was, it was like a whole experience, and I'll never forget it, dude. Mufasa dying, and like it brought tears to my eyes, and I was just like watching the live action. I was like, this is trash, dude, compared to
Yeah, it
the
was
old.
brutal. It was. I couldn't even watch. Me and my sister watched Dumbo a lot, and then when the live action came out, I was watching a little bit of like, man, this is fucking brutal. Like, yeah, I can't. I can't. I don't want it to ruin the original movie. So like, I stopped watching it because it just. I know I sound like a grumpy old man. It didn't know justice, and it sucked, and it wasn't good.
Wow, man. I don't remember it being that bad. The live action. Now, it wasn't like the animated one, but I don't remember it being that terrible. I mean, we struggled through it and we got through it. But yeah, man, I guess I was a little more optimistic about it.
Yeah, a lot of the live action stuff that they made, like I haven't even watched Aladdin. I mean, I don't. That got like mixed reviews too, and Mulan was just everybody was shitting on it, and Cruella, like it's another mixed bag. But I have no, I no chance. Like I'm not gonna watch it, even if I had cable was on TV one day. Like I won't even stop to watch it. Like I'm not gonna watch it.
Yeah, it's tough times right now for Disney, that's for sure. And that's why I'm like, you know what? Let me take a little break from all this movie watching anyway. And I ended up getting my fishing license not too long ago. It's probably like 3 weeks ago at this point. And I got a special license this year compared to the other time. This one allows me to get rainbow trout as well, compared to just the other one gives you like the basics, think
Really?
like bass, catfish, stuff like that. Yeah, well, rainbow trout for whatever reason, there's like a special charge. I'm thinking the reason is when you go to these areas where they stock them, like that costs money to stock them, to feed them, to have them in a farm and all
Oh, I
that.
thought they were like maybe trying to protect them or something.
Yeah, they are protected to a certain extent. If you go to like a certain area where to fish, there's a place here in Wooddale, I think, that's close
Hmm.
by. There's usually signs. It has like a big post with all like ads and whatever the hell, but there's usually like a little paper document on there that tells you, you can take as many of this fish as long as they're this size or whatever, or this time of year, because I guess wild conservationists or whatever, they monitor the fish, the spawning, all that stuff. But yeah, rainbow trout, man. I don't know if you guys ever had trout or if you guys like fish at all, but
I've had rainbow trout before
how'd you like it?
At Red Lobster.
Nice, dude.
I'm
Yeah.
like, what's your catch of the day or that sells? She's like, oh, here. She said rainbow trout, and I'm like, huh. And it wasn't that badly priced, and yeah, it's different from like catfish or mahi or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. It's completely different. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't bad, but I could say I tried it, and I'm like, I liked it, but it's not my first pick when it comes to seafood or just fish, but it was not bad. I mean, I could eat it again, but it's not like, yeah, this is good, I'm gonna have it again, for me anyway.
Yeah, I've never had it. I've had like the tilapia and catfish,
Yeah.
but I don't recall ever having that.
Yeah, like my favorite fish is salmon, and especially fresh. If you were to buy it like from a supermarket or if you catch it yourself, fresh salmon is so delicious when cooked the right way. And rainbow trout, I tried it from Aldi actually. The very first time I ever tried trout, and it looked just like salmon, just a little, maybe a little like redder. Um, and I was like, huh, this is interesting. Let me try it out. And it was a little bit better price than the salmon, so it was even more incentive to me to get it. And when I brought it home, I cooked it in the same way I cook a salmon, seasoned it, salt, pepper, all that. And bro, it came out really delicious. It's a similar like flakiness to the meat
Yeah,
like a salmon. So
yeah.
it's not like a traditional fish. It's not a white meat. It's like,
Mm-mm.
or it might still be white meat, I guess, but it's not. The color doesn't
I just
appear
remember
the
it
same.
was small, like in thin. That's what I
Mhm.
remember. The one that I had, and
They probably sliced it. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, and like it was the skin was still on the other side.
Okay.
But I
Okay.
seen
Yeah.
some videos where like people put like lemon slices underneath and they broil it and all this stuff and like fish cooking fish is I'm pretty sure you're good at. For me, I find it challenging.
I like pan frying. It's to me it's the
Okay.
simplest way. You put a little olive oil, heat it up, and then you put it skin down, and you let
Hmm.
that cook. You let that cook for a good while, so the majority of it's cooked inside, and then you flip it over to get that nice grill mark on both sides. Take the skin off, flip it over again, get the grill mark on the other side, and then that's it. It's usually cooked in pretty good. And man, I had some actually yesterday. It was almost a pound of salmon, and I finished that shit in like
Wow.
two sittings. Oh man, it's because I don't eat a lot much else. I worked out, lifted a little weights, and then or a lot of weights actually. We did 325 pound squats, 352 deadlift for reps, not for max. So I was like, yeah, I need to eat something good.
Ah, nice, man.
But yeah, I mean that's what I'm hoping to be doing later on this year because right now, bro, I don't know if I
So
can. And
can I ask you a question real quick on the trout, Noel? Is that's like a form of I'm assuming like fly fishing, right? Or
uh,
how do you fish for that?
I think some people do fly. I've never personally done that myself. Around here, I just do either uh, lure or bait,
Yeah.
and 90% of the time it's a lure because it's just more active for me, and it's just more fun to do it that way. But bait fishing is also very beneficial, especially for rainbow trout. There's a specific type of bait that they like, and it's like brightly lit. It's like an orange. It almost looks like an orange earplug, like one of those like
Hmm.
foam earplugs you put in, and you put that on a hook, and if you have maybe a worm, you could put that around it, and it's good if you have a nice was it like a weighted was it one of those weights
Yeah.
that
Oh
like
wait.
weigh it
Yeah.
down? Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, the reason I'm asking because somehow on my YouTube feed, fly fishing came up, and I watched a couple videos, and they're catching some like huge trouts, and it's just like they like put like a number six hook, and then they put like flies. They actually put flies on that thing, and they're just like back and forth, and then like they're catching like a shit ton of fish. And I've seen people where they go to farms and they let you fish for it, and you just pay for whatever the going rate for per pound on the trout is and stuff. So yeah, it was kind of interesting, and like they were just it's all fly fishing what I saw in those videos.
Bro, I would love that. Go out there and do
Yeah,
it.
me and Alana and Junior, we ended up getting our licenses too a couple of weeks ago, and I was surprised that when we signed up for it, that there was a specialty rate for like different fishes, like you said, like the rainbow. Because yeah, we just got the generic one, so we can just go fishing and not worry about having our fishing gear repossessed. But yeah,
Confiscated.
yeah, when I saw they had like special license for this and a special license for this fish, I was just like, damn, man. I'm like, this is crazy. This got to get expensive if it's really a serious hobby for you.
Yeah, fishing can get expensive. The license itself is not too expensive. It's like $15 for a typical, and the rainbow trout one when I went like 23 with taxes, whatever. It's not too bad for the whole year. And like I said, you can get as many as you want. Generally, I don't think you'd need more than two or three, right? Like, who's gonna eat that much fish in one, go? So yeah, I'm gonna try to go again, man. It's like what 90 degrees today? I don't know,
Yeah.
dude. It's 80 until next Tuesday. We'll see, man. I hope it gets better weather so we can start going to do fishing. Cause yeah, like I want to put it to use. I want to get my fishing rod. That'll probably be like another 50 to $100, and then just a couple of lures, maybe like $20. So not too expensive when you think about the price of fish. And if you can catch rainbow trout, like 3, 4 pound rainbow trout, that would probably run you about like 25, $30, in the store.
Right. No, you're right about that.
No, yeah, it's good fish is expensive.
Now the only thing is too is you got to make sure you choose the right spot because yeah, you never know what kind of water you're fishing in, and that actually leads us to the article of the week. So this week we have an article from theguardian.com. This is called "We Sampled Tap Water Across the U.S. and Found Arsenic, Lead, and Toxic Chemicals." So this article is made by Ryan Felton and Lisa Gill of Consumer Reports and Lewis Kendall for The Guardian. It's a 9-month investigation that was done by this organization, The Guardian, and Consumer Reports that found really high levels of what they consider or what they call forever chemicals, which is like arsenic and lead. And it was taken across the U.S. This isn't like it was taken in the Middle East or Mexico, where we know you shouldn't drink the water. It's taken here in the U.S., where everybody drinks it daily. It starts out saying in Connecticut, there were levels that were double of what the federal government deems acceptable. They also found that in a church in North Carolina, the water was contaminated with extremely high levels of potentially toxic PFAS chemicals, a group of compounds found in hundreds of household products. So it's probably could be a result of pollution, our pollution, or it could be something companies are doing, or maybe it's just not getting filtered out correctly. This article does go into really great detail. They did a full report about this, so it definitely seems credible. If all our readers can get a chance to read this, it does take maybe about 15 minutes to get through most of this. I don't want to go too in depth. I feel like our readers should get most of the information on their own reading it, but we can go down here and just get kind of some of the bullet points. So it looks here, more than 35% of the samples that they had collected had PFAS, those forever chemicals, at levels above the recommended maximum. About 8% of those samples had arsenic at levels above the recommended maximum. In total, 118 out of 120 samples had detectable levels of lead. So that's pretty alarming. That's pretty high number right there. It's almost every single location had arsenic and lead. So, I mean, how do you guys feel about this? Like after reading all this stuff, does it get you worried about drinking tap water now?
I mean, I know where I live, the tap water. I mean, when at my where I used to live before I moved out here, I mean, we were tapped into Michigan, and the water just tasted better. Out here, the water is different. It does have a different taste. So since I moved out here, we buy a shit ton of bottled water, and so
Do you buy
yeah.
those jugs or just independent like
I buy
bottles?
bottled waters. I buy 1 gallon, like this, not distilled, the sparkling water or whatever. And
Okay.
I got a water fountain machine here or whatever, and I just pour it in there. Or sometimes I go to the local store and just fill it that 3 gallon, 4 gallon tub and just flip it over when I get home because the water here out here where I live in fucking Iowa is different.
Right.
And
It
it's hard
is.
water here, so it fucks up your. I'm starting to see like the stains and all that shit like around some of the faucets if you don't clean it, and we gotta get used like CLR and all this shit.
Yeah, I did notice that. I've been looking at some houses out in that area,
Mm.
and I noticed some of them are even well water. where you
Yes.
have water coming out of a well and not from Michigan. And so it's different. If you're out in a rural area, for sure, I could assume that water, um, uh, conditions and water quality is going to be different out there than if you're getting Lake Michigan water. Which I'm not saying Lake Michigan water is all that great to begin with. A lot of the old plumbing system is lead based, so it's difficult to get rid of all that without digging up all the old infrastructure of water systems and upgrading it. The article does mention that Biden did have a bill, but I think it got halted or it hit a roadblock as far as what it was like $1 trillion or something ridiculous to upgrade all the infrastructure in the United States to get rid of all the lead piping
Man,
and upgrade it to something different.
which I admit that's a good idea because just looking at the article, I mean, you read all this shit like the forever chemicals and like everybody, the big one, lead, right? Lead. So that's a big one. I mean, that's the original. And then when they put all this infrastructure, just think about how old it is. And so yeah, I mean, it's a good idea. And then the forever chemicals and the arsenic. Yeah, I was looking at the end of the list of cities. There's a couple big cities in there, which was kind of like raised the red flag. But yeah, I mean, something needs to be done because in America, you shouldn't be having these problems, especially after what happened in Flint.
Right.
No.
The other thing I wanted to bring up is I saw a documentary maybe like 10 years ago or so. I think it was called like Blue Money or something along them lines, and it was about the water bottling industry and how this documentary was taking the stance that tap water is better than bottled water. And one of their big contentions was that bottled water is regulated by the FDA, so the Food Drug Administration, and tap water is regulated by the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency. And the EPA have been a lot tighter in their restrictions and like the inspections that they do on water, and where the FDA is a lot less stringent. They let you eat, and they're saying like in cereal there's like antifreeze and stuff like that, like the same ingredient that they use for antifreeze. So the FDA definitely.
There's sometimes you'd be surprised what they allow you to get away with. So for food and stuff, they
Right.
allow like a certain percentage of like human meat. They allow a certain percentage of like actual feces from animals and insects and certain things because at a certain point you can't get rid of it, especially for vegetables and fruits. There's gonna be some level of insects or something else. And so for meat, surprisingly, yeah, you never know for sure if you're getting 100% beef that's
Like,
not, you know.
so I mean, let me ask you this: like, have you ever had like meat that is like it's killed on a farm, butchered there, and like served to you the next day or like a week later? It tastes different from processed meat or meat that's going through those big butcher places like Smithfield and all that.
This is why I want to go hunting, dude. I want to catch an elk and then have like 100 pounds of meat for like the next 2 years, you know?
But it's gonna taste different from the meat that you buy at the store. Like, there is an adjustment. That's what I'm saying. Like, have you had it before? Like you might not like it.
I mean, knowing that it's clean, that's more important to me than the taste. I would rather live a longer life
And
eating
adjust
something
to
that,
it. Yeah.
yeah, than knowingly take something that's, harmful.
And I think you're right. The FDA allows a lot of this like residue stuff to be okay in food because I know our nephew deals with peanut allergies and they have a tough time finding anything that does not label peanut. And that's just because the containers that they use for processing the food, it was probably used for some kind of peanut ingredient. And even though they wash it off, you would have to like go through these extreme measures to make sure that all the peanut residue is gone before you process the next food. So a lot of stuff that you would even think doesn't have anything to do with peanuts, and the labels most of the time say peanuts on there, just so that people are aware that the bin or the mixer or whatever it was used to make this peanut, ingredient, they're using that same bin to make something completely different, but it might still have some of that residue in it.
Yeah, it's tough.
I mean, yeah, in my old house, I haven't seen one out here. They used to send you a water quality report. I don't know if you ever seen one at your dad's house, Dan, or if you've gotten one where you live now to tell you for all this fucking testing they've done. I mean, I've seen it, but I'm like, I don't know what any of this shit means. I just throw the letter away at my old house. I haven't seen one since I've been out here. I don't know because if I'm in a different county, if they have different rules. But when I lived over in Cook County, I used to get a yearly letter from the local like water fucking place, like from the county or the town, and they used to tell me all this fucking testing about lead and all this other shit, and then they're like, we're below the fucking standards or something, and they give you have a breakdown of all these chemicals and the percentage, but like none of this shit, like I'm not no fucking biochemist. I don't know what the fuck any of this shit means.
Yeah, no, I don't know if I've ever seen that report or anything on tap water, but
they might have it on the website in the city if you look it up. I mean,
well, we don't even drink the tap water. That's the thing. Like, we don't even drink. Like, we stopped drinking tap water. I want to say over 10 years ago.
Really?
We switched to we had Hinkley and Schmidt for years, and then we got tired of paying the high prices of that, so we just started getting the filtered water from certain grocery stores that sell it. They have the reverse osmosis machines. Mm-hmm. And those machines filter the water, and they take out lead and all these other trace chemicals and mercury and fluoride. That's a big one too. I don't like. And it's everywhere in the tap water, dude. They specifically tell you they put fluoride in it.
Did you ever? So you don't have to brush your teeth, man.
Dude, like that's not like even proven to help. Like I still had cavities. That's bullshit.
Right.
Have you guys ever used like the filter stuff, like we're putting on a filter and all this bullshit? Did you ever believe in that? Yeah.
I think we had it for a bit, didn't we, Daniel? But that was like when I was a kid, and ever since we got the Hinkley Springs, we didn't go that route anymore. But there are some expensive and really good filters that I am looking into getting in the future.
Right. Alex Stone is always touting those filters that filter out all these minerals and whatnots.
Chat hounds trying to fucking poison us.
Right. But I agree with you, man. There is a lot of suspicious stuff with tap water, but ever since I saw that documentary, it made me more relaxed with tap water versus bottled water. And I don't know if that's the cheapness in me that tap water is free and bottled water you have to buy.
All you need to do to disprove that is look what the fuck's going on at Flint. If they're so fucking doing all this shit, what the fuck happened at Flint?
Right.
And then they said that water is normal and it was brown. And they're like, drink it. Like, nah, I'm not going to drink it. Like, then your whole thing is full of shit. Right. Like, there was brown water come out and they're telling people that's fine to drink. Like, then you drink it. Nah, I'm not going to drink it.
No, and I agree. I think anything government related has to be, kind of scrutinized nowadays. But at the same point, I have seen our county send out like boil notices because after an inspection they found this, and then hey, we're gonna do work on the water main. Do not drink the water. Only use it for washing and whatnot. So I've seen notices like that. So they do pay attention to stuff like that. Now, are they paying attention to it as much as bottled water companies? I really don't know.
So one thing to keep aware of too is, and actually I might buy you guys these for like Christmas or something. It's a small like $15 device that detects the amount of chemicals, or not necessarily chemicals, but pollutants or some alteration to the purity of water. So if you were to get a bottle of pure water, filtered water with nothing in it, and you use this thing, it's going to tell you it has like maybe 0 to 5 parts per million. That means it's pretty much clear. There's nothing in there. And what I've done is I've tested the tap water here throughout the different, faucets in the house, and there'll be different levels. So depending on if you're in the sink in the kitchen or if you're in the sink in the washroom and you get a glass of water, you're gonna have different levels of mineral content and who knows what else in there, lead, mercury, poisoning, whatever. So I'm gonna get you one of these devices, and it'll help you be able to monitor throughout the week just the level of water. Is it hard water? Is it soft water? Because that's a big deal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all that shit. Like when you come out here, like you look at when you go to the grocery store, everybody just buys like a shit ton of bottled water. I've never seen so many people in my life buy so much bottled water. It was an adjustment for me.
It's actually bad if you're for a guy. It supposedly has these chemicals that mimic estrogen to make the plastic, and that's why
Mhm.
if you're gonna drink from plastic, make sure it's that hard, rigid plastic that's BPA free, like the
Mhm.
blender bottles. That's why I have so many blender bottles because I just fill up my water in there instead of using like a glass or something else that could break, and it's easy to travel with. So I recommend that, man, instead of using just the typical thin plastic water bottles.
And that explains a lot. I know a lot of guys that are kind of weak, man, and they be drinking all that soft ass bottle shit, man. You gotta hit that hard shit, man.
I'm gonna use my stainless steel Yeti, man. Fuck this shit, man.
There
There you
you go,
go.
man.
Yeah, I actually wanted to get one. I heard they're good. How is the Yeti?
It's good for beer. It keeps it cold.
Yeah,
I got the big
Alana
one.
bought a big one. It's pink, and she doesn't really use it anymore because she said it was like too girthy, and she wanted like a thinner one. So she bought like a thinner version of the Yeti, and I'm just like, man, that huge one looks good. I wish I could take it to work, but it's all pink, and I'm like, man, I can't take a pink Yeti to work, man. People are laughing at me.
You need to get one of those. What is it like the foam thing that you
The
put around
koozies.
it? Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, they got me. I got for a gift one year. They gave me not a knockoff brand, but a brand that's not Yeti, and that one just works just as fine, and it's stainless, and that's a smaller one, and I use that one once in a while. I'm in the backyard if I'm having a beer or something. I'll use that one, but it's not as bad.
Yeah, I guess to go back to the article, Noel, man, I think all this stuff is really suspicious. I think as technology progresses and as these test things become easier to get, more people should get educated as how good quality your tap water is, and even how good quality bottled water is. Junior showed me a video not too long ago. It was like a week ago about how there was a YouTuber that was testing bottled water, and a lot of them didn't pass.
Hmm.
And they're supposedly clean, filtered water, and they are full of minerals and full of other stuff. You really have to read the labels and see if they're doing some weirdness interpretation, like we're filtering it, but it's not really like an extreme good filtering, where they're like dumping a shitload of bleach in there and kind of killing everything off, kind of thing. So you really have to look to see what you're getting and get yourself educated on what you're drinking.
I 100% agree, man. A lot of bottled water is actually not healthy for you,
Right.
and it's especially like the major brands too. I was really surprised to see that like some of the brands that I grew up drinking, Ice Mountain, Dasani, all these, they're actually not that great. Like it's shocking. It's like a eye opener. But yeah, you're right. Definitely need to do research. Water's one of the most important things we needed to live every single day. It should definitely be something that we know what we're putting in our bodies to such a high degree. So I do urge our viewers to, research it and read this article at your leisure and get, aware of your water and the quality. But that wraps things up for today, guys. I want to thank our listeners so much for joining us here on the Freeform Network. If you're not already, please follow us on Facebook at Freeform Network, on Twitter at FFR Podcast, and send us a question. Send us any suggestions you think we should do for a topic. The email to drop that is ffnquestions@gmail.com. From Freeform Radio, my name is Noel, And we have our two hosts, Daniel.
Yes, sir. Enjoy that weather, man. It's getting warm, so make sure you take frequent showers. You don't want that stink going up in there.
And Andy.
Hey, it's all good, and anybody wants to send us samples of their versions of stainless steel cups, let us know. Send them to ffnquestions@gmail.com, or anybody wants to try their specialized water with alkaline or something I seen, and smart waters and all this stuff. Send us a email, and we'll tell you where to ship them to. But everybody have a good week.
Definitely. Well, everybody, we wish you a great night and a beautiful tomorrow.
That was cool, Dad.